Hey guys, this is Jane, and today I wanted to talk to you about The Doll in the Garden. This is one of the books that I read for middle grade March in 2021, and this was read because of a prompt that was read a book written in or published in the decade you were born. And I was born in the 80s, and this was published in 1989. I will say I didn't know anything about this book going into it, and I went in very blind. It was a book that I just picked up because I was looking at books that were from the 80s that were semi-popular, and it called to me. So this book is about a girl named Ashley who has moved into a new home after the death of her father. Her father has recently passed away from cancer, and her mother are starting over in this new house. They have a really cranky neighbor who actually owns the house, who's their landlady, and they are like living in the upstairs part of the house, and she's living in the downstairs part. Like, it's separated, so it's two different houses, but like it's the same building. So she is in this new place, and she goes into a garden and finds a doll. And she has reason to believe that this doll belongs to somebody, and that somebody just might be a ghost. So I really enjoyed this book for what it was. It's a middle grade book. I really had a good time with it. It was decent for a middle grade. I didn't love Ashley. I felt she was kind of an annoying character, but probably very true to a child of her age and her thought processes and the things that she did, and the other child who she was friends with. Sometimes they did things and my adult mind went, oh, why? But again, it's a middle grade, so I did like that. I loved the exploration of grief. We have this girl who believes this doll belongs to a ghost, and she has recently lost her father, so there's a lot of exploration of the afterlife and grief and death. And, there's also a little mystery. How did the doll get here? Who put the doll there? Who does the doll belong to? This book does have some paranormal and fantastic elements, so, I with ghost stories like this, I never know when I'm going in if I'm going to get a book where the resolution is there's a perfectly logical explanation for everything and nothing paranormal, or if I'm going to get it's a children's book and it can have paranormal stuff. And I got the paranormal stuff, and I liked that. I think that was really fun with this book. I think it's a book that a middle grader would really enjoy. As an adult, I enjoyed it for what it was, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't love it, but I really enjoyed what it was trying to do. I enjoyed the exploration of grief so much. The end of this book, I cried and I cried. It was really good in that way. But like I said, the characters and their choices and their ideas, very appropriate for a middle grade audience, maybe not so much for an adult. So yeah, I gave this a 3 out of 5. For me, 3 out of 5 is a very average book. It does what I'd expect it to do. It didn't particularly stand out as being amazing. It did exactly just kind of what I wanted and what I expected it to do. And I could have probably gone with a 4. I was kind of teetering between the two, but it is a middle grade. And again, it's doing exactly what I'd want a middle grade to do, but for an adult, for me as an adult reader, I didn't necessarily think it was a 4-star book for an adult reader, but I thought it was an excellent, possibly 4-star read for a middle grade reader. So I was a little torn, and I still don't know what my ultimate Goodreads rating will be on that, but for me, my personal taste, it was fine. It did everything I wanted it to do. It did everything I expected it to do, but it wasn't something I would pick up again. I would recommend it to my children. I would give it to my children. I would recommend it if you have, children. This is not particularly scary. There are some moments that are a little scary, but it's more like an exploration of things. So I didn't necessarily find it scary or even super creepy. So I think unless your child is very sensitive, they could probably handle, the ghost elements of the story. So yeah, it's a fine middle grade book. If you have a middle grader, I think they'd probably really enjoy this. If you're an adult reader who reads a lot of middle grade, you might really enjoy it. If you're an adult reader who is reading it for a middle grade March, you might appreciate that it's a great middle grade book and, not necessarily on a personal level love it. And that's kind of where I came out. The characters drove me nuts because they're kids and I'm a mom and they acted just like my kids. The story was fine. It did what I would expect it to do. And the ending just ripped out my heart. So yeah, those are my thoughts on The Doll in the Garden. Please like and subscribe to my channel so you can see what other books I am reading. And my social media is below. I'm also an author, so there are links to my books below as well. This has been Jane. See you next time. Thanks. Bye.